Okay, question 7. Parasite 1. I can't find my pen, really sorry. Right, the figure shows the life cycle of the parasitic hairworm. I'm just going to say worm. Okay, found in lakes throughout North and South America. So you've got the cricket here, and they're telling you that this is the definitive host. And then you've got adult hairworms in the cricket. The cricket goes into the water, and therefore there's now adult hairworms in the water. The eggs then form into larvae. The larvae go through an intermediate host where it develops into an adult, and then we have a flying insect, for example a mosquito, passing it into the cricket, which is a definitive host. Okay. Ease over this side. Right, hairworm eggs develop into larvae that hatch and move slowly through water at the bottom of the lake, where they may be ingested by aquatic insect larvae. The insects act as intermediate hosts, transporting the parasites into the terrestrial environment when the aquatic insect larvae become flying adults. Okay, if the flying insects are eaten by crickets, the parasite larvae penetrate the gut of the cricket to enter the body cavity. So, lovely. Explain why the hairworm and the cricket can be described as symbiotes. Okay, so we've got, well, it's obviously not a mutualistic in setup, and it's not commensal. This is definitely parasitic. But the definition of being in symbiosis is that they are in close association with each other. And that's the one we're looking for. Okay. Oh, and just check the mark scheme here. They're involved in a close, intimate association and 2 different species. So, yes, I suppose if you said with each other, then you've got that there's 2, but just be careful in the wording. Okay, explain why the cricket and not the aquatic insect larvae is the definitive host. So the definition of a definitive host is that is where it reaches sexual maturity. So that's what you need to say. So it's the parasite reaches sexual maturity in the cricket. Okay, not in the aquatic larvae. Okay, sorry, spin this down for B. In the presence of water, in fact, up a wee bit. In the presence of water, the hairworm exits the cricket's body and commences the next stage of its life cycle. Researchers have found that the hairworm adults produce mind-controlling chemicals which cause their normally terrestrial cricket hosts to jump into bodies of water. Okay, this is a extended phenotype bit. Okay, suggest how this modification of host behaviour benefits the parasite. Well, if you look here, it says here that the cricket, when it enters the water, that's when the adult hairworms actually move into the water. So if the cricket doesn't enter the water, then it cannot do that. So it allows it to go into the next stage of its life cycle. So how does this benefit the parasite? It moves it into the next stage of life cycle. Which means that it can get to the intermediate host, which allows it to then come back up again. Okay. Give another example of a host behaviour that can be altered as part of the extended phenotype of a parasite. Well, basically in the mark scheme they're allowing just about anything here, as long as it was valid. So what you're expecting is, you know, we've all seen the picture of the snail with the weird kind of antennae thing that's looking at that. So that's a behaviour that's changed in terms of where they are. So physically where they're prepared to be. It could change their foraging behaviour. It could change kind of aggression, which might mean that there's a difference in kind of transmission of that. It could change anything that you can think of that's gonna be reasonable. The list that they had in the mark scheme, to be clear, is in the EG bit: foraging, sexual behaviour, habitat choice, anti-predator behaviour. Okay, so anything from that list. Okay, C. Adult hairworms are free-living in aquatic environments where they mate. Males die almost immediately after mating, so only mate once. Females die shortly after laying eggs, fertilised by a single male. State the term used to describe this type of reproductive strategy. Okay, so when we're talking about reproductive strategy, we're talking about the number of mates that you have within one breeding season, and this one is only one mate, so therefore this is monogamous, or monogamy. Okay, and I've put this one to the side because you don't need to know this anymore either. Hairworm's closely related to the phylum Nematoda, and name the phylum. The phylum there is arthropods if you're interested, but that has been removed from the content set. Okay.